Welcome to another podcast of the current situation at Manchester United. I know the first thought in you guys' minds that the few guys that watch my video podcast, because if you can recall from last year of probably fall, if not no summer of 2020, leading up today, most of my video podcasts, and I've had a few without a cap, but most of my video podcasts since late summer of last year to now, most of them have worn the same cap. But in this video podcast, because my hair needs air, is me, so it can grow and adhere to growth. So I'm going to show my luscious, beautiful hair to not only you guys, but I need to bring it to exposure to air because my hair is very plentiful, as you can see. And given that I have one small cap, all of this here cannot fit in one small cap. So yeah, I have to give it more air, give it more exposure to the outer environment. So that is going to be, I might do a few video podcasts without a cap. So yeah, but this video podcast, I'm going to be going into a few housekeeping notes in relation to Manchester United. The latest news that we have, it says here that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is confident that his main man, his captain, Harry Maguire, is going to come back from injury. This is from the Mirror, so take this with a pinch of salt. He's confident that Harry Maguire is going to be back from injury in preparation for the EuroLeague final on the 26th of May, which is in 10 days from now. So as you guys know, he got an injury against Leicester. He got the injury against Aston Villa away from home. And because of his absence, United have succumbed to two consecutive losses. Not only two consecutive losses off the bat, but two consecutive losses at home. If you look at our home form this season, from the first game against Crystal Palace at home, we lost to them at home. We lost to Tottenham 6-1 at home. That shouldn't have never happened, but that was based. Some person might say, Anthony Martial got a red card. So in retrospect, if my man was still on the pitch, would Tottenham still put 6 past him? Not necessarily, but the game was won and we lost the game at home. So that is 2 losses. We lost against the mighty Sheffield United at home when we were top of the league. We lost to them and they're in like 20th place. So they shouldn't be even getting 3 points at Old Trafford in the first place. We lost against Leicester City at home. And of course we lost to Liverpool at home. That is 5 home losses this season. We have not been much of a fortress at our home ground. Other sides in the Premier League, as you can see, muscle man. Other sides in the Premier League have had different keys to our door at home. They can access our inside of our home. They have taken points away from us at our home ground, in our backyard. That is unacceptable. But it happened, and we have 5 home defeats this season. I don't even think that's even our overall loss in the season. But I say that to say this. Speaking of Harry Maguire, yes, he has had a tough start at Manchester United. But there's something that we all can say amen to. There's something that we can be on the same pitch with and say that the absence of Harry Maguire has leaked in goals and has allowed Man United to concede more goals. Now, I don't know if that is based on him being a slabhead, but we have to say that the slabhead is actually missed. We miss our captain, that is Mr. Slabhead. And if Mr. Slabhead was in the starting 11, then no goals would be embedded behind the goal post or past line. So without getting lengthier, my thing is this. If he's injured, severely injured, again, his injury, Manchester United's captain, he suffered an ankle ligament damage, which is going to be it has to be very cautionary because this is an injury that you cannot rush. You have an ankle ligament injury. Your ankle is not the same as it was before that injury. Definitely don't take no injury, no drugs. Definitely don't get no injections because that's going to finish your ankles. You're going to be finished as a football player. Do not rush this injury. If he's severely damaged, if he has no green, if he doesn't have a say so in the final, do not rush him because he might even suffer more injuries than he already has. So do not rush him to start the final because my man is the captain, and if he starts and we win, he's going to lift the trophy. No, there's different players at the club that can start. We have Eric Bay, we have Lindelof. Unfortunately, we have players like Tuan Sibi and other centre backs that can play. But what we have to say, what I have to say is that if he's severely injured, because basically the medical system is basically saying, yo, they're not really taking no chances with his recovery. This guy needs to recover. Harry Maguire needs to recover. He's not God Almighty. He's not Zlatan Ibrahimovic. He's not a robot. He's a human. And it's going to take him some time for that ankle to slap back in place or to recuperate so that he can perform like it was doing previously to the injury. So that's just my brief thoughts on it. I don't want to really linger on it that much. I just want to move on to the next. And again, I don't want this video to be more than an hour because I have a few things to talk about. Man United boss says that he's going to may give Anthony Martial a new role next season. Now, of course, you guys know that Anthony Martial he has not been in the goals this season. That could be, there could be a reason for that. I mean, he's not been in form. He could probably have personal issues off the pitch. Motivation is not there. Something has been missing from Tony this season. But this is what it says based on Martial changing his role for next season. Because last season, my man was gangbanging. He had like 23 goals in the Premier League, I think, or something like that. If not in all competition. So there is a reason we can't sell this dude just because he's not in the best of form. We have to keep him. He's about 25 right now. He's going into that stage of development as a prime player. So we cannot remove him or sell him just because he had a rinky-dink type of season. That should not be a viable reason for selling him or moving him on. But moving on to what Ole said about Martial, he's thinking of using Martial as a backup striker for next season. Nigga, Cavani is 34 right now. Cavani is 34 right now. And we're going to suffer big time if we start Cavani next season. Cavani is already injury prone. Cavani is prone to having an injury more than likely. Martial has had his injuries, yes. He has been in and out of form, yes. But what you cannot say about Martial is that he's not an old dude. He's a young dude that has potential. This dude needs to be starting up top. He wanted the number 9. He was given the number 9. Just because he's struggling as a number 9 doesn't mean that they should change role with him. He wanted to start. He wanted to start, and he was given that role last season and he did well last season. This season things are kind of changing upon him, but he needs to adapt. So I don't agree with my man being second stringer to whoever who is starting next season if we get a striker next season. But I don't agree with Martial being a second stringer or him playing sloppy seconds to the striker who's going to be starting next season. Again, this guy is 25. If he was 35 and even as a 35 striker, I wouldn't even play as a secondary striker. But I can see where he's coming from given that of his age. That's if he was 35, but he's 25 right now. He's fresh, he's ripe, and he's sweet in the years of where he needs to be playing good football. Martial is a very talented striker, so I don't really agree with Martial being a second stringer to the main striker. But yeah, that's my partake on Martial and his new role. Now the third thing which I found very interesting, it says here that Manchester United star Bruno Fernandes convinced he would have won the Ballon d'Or already if he had an unbelievable trait of a certain teammate. Without getting lengthy, because I scroll through the article, he was basically saying if I had the same amount of pace as Marcus Rashford, because he was talking about Rashford, he was basically saying there's a lot of traits that I wish I could have, but if I had to pick one trait that would have certified me as a Ballon d'Or candidate or a Ballon d'Or winner, it is that having the pace, the speed of Marcus Rashford. I mean, that's a strong claim because not Rashford, Bruno Fernandes, he can ping a pass. He's a good creator. He can score. He can do decent he can score free kicks. I mean, would he win? I want to hear what you guys think. Would he have won the Ballon d'Or if he had this unbelievable trait which is known as pace? Because shoot, Daniel James has pace. And when he has that pace, he's running all over the place. He has no football IQ whatsoever. So if this unbelievable trait was unbelievable, I mean it's unbelievably deniable, bro. Like, how are you saying that pace is going to move you over the line of you in a Ballon d'Or? Iniesta almost won the Ballon d'Or behind Messi and Xavi, and Iniesta is no pacey player. Xavi is not a pacey player. Nedved, I don't think wasn't a pace. He was somewhat fast, but I wouldn't say he's a pacey player. So you don't need pace to win Ballon d'Ors. There's no excuse for you to use for not winning no Ballon d'Ors. So I found that interesting from Bruno Fernandes. But anyway, this is the video podcast for you guys. And I'll be doing a preview. Something is on my lip. I will be doing a preview for you guys tomorrow in response. I think we're going to play against Fulham away from home. I think we have played our last home game for the season in the Premier League. So we have 2 away games, I believe, against Fulham and Wolves. This is my meat of the matter. This is my main event to use WWE terminologies for this video podcast. Now, we have seen Liverpool crumble this season in terms of them trying to defend their trophy, them being champions last season. And that has provoked a response for me to be doing this video podcast, because a lot of guys have this naive, as I would call it, a naive, novice, knucklehead notion that the commotion, the action of winning the Premier League, or winning any league for that matter, and maintaining it the next season is not really something that is difficult to do. Some people think that, hey, I think it's easy to win the Premier League again the next season, or the league title the next season, because momentum matters. So if they win it the previous season, that should give them a reason to win it the next season. And that's a naive thought, because I'll put it to you guys like this. Of course, Bayern Munich has won the as I would call it, the Bayern Liga, or some person may call it the German Premier League. Bayern has won their league title for the past, because Dortmund beat them to it in 2011-2012 under Jurgen Klopp. Bayern snatched it back in 2012-2013, and ever since they have been on a routine to winning it consecutively. Like they haven't lost the league title to anybody. So yes, Bayern has won it ever since, and that has created an innumerable amount of critics, because persons are saying, and this shouldn't take away the quality and the brilliance of Bayern. I'm not taking away the brilliance and quality of Bayern. What I'm saying is this: in terms of the quality of the league, the league is very poor, but someone has to win the league. So I'll say that. So despite the league being poor, that's not going to take away the quality of Bayern, because Bayern is a quality side. They're probably in the top five squads in the football world right now. So I'm not taking anything from Bayern, but I'm saying the league itself is poor in terms of quality, in terms of HD, 3D effect. The quality is poor. But let's bring things back to the Premier League, because Premier League is the best league. Liverpool won the league last season. They are now in seventh place, if not in I think they're in either fourth place now, or let me check. I think they're in fourth place. No, they're in fifth place, right, as we speak, with a game in hand. So with that matter at hand, this is what I'll say. The Premier League, or any league, it is not easy, and this may sound contradictory given my previous point being mentioned of Bayern winning it every season. It is not easy to win the league another time the next season. Now I'm going to exclude Germany, because of course, like I mentioned, the league quality is poor. I am going to excuse the French league as well. That's Ligue 1. Because Lille is on the verge of winning the league itself. And persons are saying, well, the French league is more quality, the French league is more challenging than Bundesliga. But I don't think it's due to challenge. I think it's due to the poor attitude of PSG players when it comes onto the opposition in the league itself. Because if you compare, I haven't watched PSG this much that season. I mean, this season, but one thing persons will notice that they have a different attitude towards the Champions League in regards to the league on itself. The attitude is different. PSG is putting out their best strategy and their best pedigree of players in the Champions League, but those players, they don't have the same attitude towards the league. Yes, Mbappe has been in the goals. Yes, Neymar has been doing his thing with Di Maria, but it's not the same. It's not the same enthusiasm as the Champions League itself, because they haven't won the Champions League ever. I have the same amount of Champions League medals as any player that used to play for PSG, and I don't play professional football. So that should tell you something. They haven't won the Champions League ever. They have come close, but no cigar. They were in the final last season, but no cigar. They were beaten in the semi-finals against Man City, but no cigar. So I'm not saying that the PSG side is below par. They are a good side, but the quality of the league itself in France, there is no chance it is as good as the Premier League or Yes, the Premier League. It's not as good as the Premier League. Now La Liga, there's a tussling match in La Liga against Atletico Madrid, Real Madrid, and Barcelona. This is me. So those three horses are fighting to win the La Liga. But I'm just specifying this into the Premier League because the Premier League, let's be honest, is the most competitive league, the most exciting league, and the most aggressive league. Liverpool are not going to be champions this season. Man City is going to win their third Premier League trophy in 4 years. Let me repeat that. They're going to win their third Premier League under the guidance of Pep, of course, for 4 years. 3 trophies in under the span of 4 years. That is good. As a manager, that is good. But I'll say this. Winning the Premier League, I'll give you this analogy, this couple of analogies. If you had money, and I'm pretty sure most of you guys are not broke, you're not a big-sided joke, you have decent money in the bank account, you have a decent bank account, you have monies under your mattress, monies in a drawer. So you're financially stable at least, right? But would you say, given that you have a lot of money or a good amount of money, would you say that it's challenging to get married? Would you say it's challenging to get married? Now, some of you guys might be wondering, okay, Ron, how does that apply to anything with football? It applies to everything because check this out. If you have money and you get married, does that guarantee you that you're going to sustain and retain that marriage? Does that guarantee you that you're going to sustain and maintain the covenant of that marriage? Whether it's with another man, which is not my business, or it's with a woman, which is the way of life. Given that you have money, is that going to sustain your marriage? If you have a business, if you have a lot of money, anybody can start a business if they have money. But is that going to maintain and sustain the progression of that business? If that business is going well, is that business going to continue? You guys get my point, huh? If you have a girlfriend, a beautiful girlfriend, is me, and you have good looks like yours truly, is that going to sustain your relationship with that woman just because you're good looking? What you have to understand is that to get things, let me use this in fitness because this is a big thing in fitness. A lot of persons have this naive notion that getting fit is the most challenging thing to accomplish when it comes down to fat loss or muscle building. People think that losing fat, getting fit, is the hardest thing to do. But you guys know, and I know because I'm big into fitness, you guys know that is the easiest part. You guys know that's the easiest part. The hardest part is maintaining that physique that you got during that fat loss. That is going to be the hardest moment in fitness, is maintaining the physique that you have achieved, that you believe that you could achieve in that fat loss stage. And after the fat loss stage, you're having troubles maintaining that physique. Your cortisol levels is through the roof. You're hungry as hell. You're hungry as hell to the point that you can't even speak well. You treat ice cream like looking at a beautiful woman walking down the street, like you can't take your eyes off it. You're very hungry. You're irritable. You're agitated easily. You're frustrated easily. You're going to have low energy. You're not going to maintain and sustain that physique as easily. Fat loss, getting fit is the easy part. maintaining the physique that you got through that fat loss is the hardest part. So bring this full circles back to football, because it's a football channel. When a side wins the Premier League, it is not easy to maintain it. It's not easy to maintain it. You guys have probably heard of the terminology, the second Caesar syndrome. The second Caesar syndrome. What is the second Caesar syndrome? And this applies to, of course, footballers that were good in one season, but they were like a completely different player in their second season. When Mohamed Salah came to the league in 2017, 2018, after his first season, persons were saying, I mean, he did well in his first season, but I'm pretty sure he's not going to replicate that form the next season. I know he's not going to be as good the next season. Persons were expecting him to have a second season syndrome. Some persons might ask, what's the relevance of second season syndrome? Easy. If you came to the Premier League and it's your debut season and you did well, you scored 25 goals in the league and 13 in our competition, people are going to be, particularly fans of the Premier League, they're going to be skeptical of you because yes, you did well in your first season, but Premier League fans know they have seen enough players that have come to the Premier League, lit up the Premier League in their first season, but in their second season, they were like 180 degrees the opposite. Like they were not the same player. So you scoring 25 goals in the Premier League, that is not going to spark enough eyebrows, or it's not going to raise a lot of eardrums, perk a lot of ears, I should say, to persons saying, he's going to do well next season. I mean, he got 25 goals in the league, so why not continue? It's not going to be easy. Because here's the thing you need to understand. Football is evolving. Football is not the same. It's not static. It hasn't plateaued. It's always changing. It's always orbiting. It's always evolving. League sides in the league is evolving. That's why certain players that came in the Premier League fresh, they were ripe, they came at the right time, they lit up the Premier League, but the next season they weren't even half as good as they were the previous season. Because the sides caught them out. They adapted to how he plays. So when he came fresh into the game, person didn't know how he played. They didn't know. They might have seen him played, but playing him 1v1, they didn't know he was going to be like that. But after that season, the manager does evaluation on the sides that they're going to play against, and they're going to go on you and say, this is how he plays. So we're going to cut off his strengths, and we're going to try exploit his weaknesses on the pitch. You see? So bringing this back to the sides winning titles. I can remember when Manchester United last won the Premier League in 2013, and when Sir Alex Ferguson retired, David Moyes came into the show. We know that man like Moyes was not going to retain the league with us. You know, we knew he was as good as. It wasn't that the squad wasn't bad. The squad wasn't bad because we had Van Persie was top scorer. We had Wayne Rooney, who wanted to leave, but he was still a very good player. Vidic was getting on a bit, but he was still a very good defender. Rio Ferdinand was getting on a bit. He was past his prime. Evra was past his prime. Raphael was very good. Carrick was getting on. Fletcher was getting on. Giggs definitely was getting on. So we had a lot of elderly players. We had a lot of veterans in our squad. We had a lot of leaders in our squad. But see, the reason why we won the Premier League wasn't because of the quality of the squad. One, because of the leadership that was on the pitch by the players and off the pitch that was done by Sir Alex Ferguson. And in terms of leadership of goals, that was Van Persie. So it wasn't that we were quality in all of the categories on the pitch. This is me. The reason why we win the Premier League was because that we have a system. Anderson, man was making Anderson look like Xavi in midfield, cleverly good in midfield. Butner was doing decent. But how does a side maintain and sustain the Premier League? How does a side maintain the league title itself? Man City winning the second Premier League consecutively in 2018-2019. Persons might say, well, yes, Ron, they have won the Premier League again. They have won it last season and they have won it this season. So I think your point is somewhat invalid that they had a second season syndrome. Not necessarily, because Liverpool was under their tail. Like if Man City was like slipping, Liverpool would actually have won the Premier League that season. If memory serves me right, I think City won the Premier League. Let me see. I think City won the Premier League with 98 points. With 98 points. And Liverpool won it with 97 points. See, right? Yes. They won it with 98 points and Liverpool had it with 97 points. And all those sides has one like they were winning. They were winning. And the game that gave them the league itself was Vincent Kompany's goal against Leicester at home. That goal catapulted them to being champions. So this notion that the Premier League is easily maintained and sustained and obtained, that is a naive, gullible notion. It is not easy to just maintain the Premier League because sides are going to adapt to how we play. Players are going to adapt to how you play. So you have to go evolve the way you play. Or you have to just be amazingly good for persons not to predict your movement or how you play. You have to be very good. So persons want to say, yo, well, Sir Alex Ferguson, yes, he won out of trophies, but I mean, doesn't that kind of talks about the quality of the Premier League? No, because Arsenal was a very good side under Arsene Wenger. Liverpool was a force to be reckoned with. Chelsea was evolving. You know, Tottenham was doing their thing. Yeah, and Man City was nowhere to be seen. So anyway, they were even small sides in the Premier League. They were giving challenges to the top dogs in the league. That's what makes the Premier League so enticing and exciting. Is small sides, small hyenas in the league that is biting and eating lions of the league. That's one of the main appeals of the Premier League. You see, I remember I'll put it to you like this. You know why Antonio Conte couldn't maintain the Premier the trophy that he won with Chelsea in 2017? In the first game, that was out of the window because they lost 3-0 to Burnley at home. They lost 3-0 to Burnley, bloody Burnley at home. 3-0. 3-love. They didn't get no taste of the goal. No, that's a lie. No, Morata scored a header, so that's a lie. I think it was actually 3-2, if not 3-1. See, I'm doing a lot of checking up in this, you know. Yeah, so I think it's one out of those two. But anywho, That shows you that the Premier League is not easy to maintain because Conte lost some players in the dressing room. And the sides found out how Antonio Conte was using his 3-4-3 system. They found him out. So I think it's important to give certain managers credit for continuing to win the Premier League. Like for example, Sir Alex Ferguson and obviously Pep Guardiola, because he's won the Premier League this season, and he's won this consecutive season after he won it the first time. So I think guys need to understand the competitive nature of the Premier League. It's not easy to just win the Premier League like that and try to win it the next season. No, sides are going to find you out eventually. It might take a time, it might take a while, but they're going to find you out eventually. And that is the reason why Manchester United will also, due to poor transfers and due to poor management, that's the reason why we didn't maintain and sustain that league title in 2014. We didn't have a good squad, and apart from that, our style of play was not the same. Now, I'll say this. I have seen United fans echo this sentiment a few times. Persons believe that Sir Alex Ferguson retired because they believe that Sir Alex Ferguson was out of touch with the modern day football. And I would agree. Because if Sir Alex Ferguson stayed, I don't think he would have maintained the Premier League triumph with United the next season. I think my man would have been out of touch with the game. I think he was out of touch with the game. We have seen that with Wenger. Wenger was out of touch with the game. I have to give credit to Carlo Ancelotti, Don Carlo, because he has evolved once he has been at AC Milan, Real Madrid, and other sides, and at Chelsea. He has evolved his game, his style of play, his man management. But going back to sides winning the trophy and trying to maintain it, it's not easy to maintain something the next season, especially in the Premier League. Things are going to be people are going to adapt to how you play. They're going to find some counter ways to counter how you play. So it is very important to accept the brilliance, the achievements of a side maintaining the league. Again, I'm not talking about the Bayern League or the PSG League. I'm talking about the Premier League. It is not easy to win the Premier League for a start. To win 38 games away and at home, to go to certain sides that have a low block, it's not easy to score against those types of sides, particularly if your side is based on exploiting space. If you're a side that your main MO is to score goals by sides giving you a high line and giving you a lot of space, if you play against a 2009 to 2014 Stoke City, if you played against a 2014 to 2016 West Brom, if you played against a 2015 to 2021 Burnley, you would definitely find out that those sides are not going to be easy to break down, because they're not set up to win against you. They just don't want to lose against you. They don't want you to score, because they know that they might have a main system to score, like play the ball directly like route one, but for one, in terms of trying to keep a clean sheet, their gates is going to be very enclosed. Is me. So it's not going to be the same. Not going to be the same. I'm going to wrap up in a few seconds. Not going to be the same. So the first thought that mistake that you made was thinking that the Premier League is easy to win, and it's not. Second mistake that you made was thinking that maintaining and sustaining the Premier League was easy, given that they had momentum in the previous season, and it's not. Conte suffered from the second season syndrome. His side was not the same prior to winning the Premier League. Jose Mourinho, on his return back to Chelsea, he suffered. He couldn't sustain the Premier League. So he suffered this season after he won the Premier League with Chelsea. Man City didn't sustain the Premier League. Well, they were evolving. They were getting stronger. Actually, they had a stronger side than us when we won the Premier League, Let me make that clear. They had a stronger side than United when we won the Premier League in 2013. But we had something that they didn't. And obviously, Liverpool winning the Premier League last season. Liverpool winning the Premier League this season. They have shown us that maintaining the Premier League trophy, triumph, being staying as champions is not an easy feat. That is not easy. I'll be doing a preview I should say. I think I said this already. But I'll be doing a preview for the Fulham game tomorrow. Stick and seal for that game. That preview I should say. I'm kind of all over the place. But yeah, I'll show you guys tomorrow. Leave your comments down below if you think that the Premier League is easy sustained or maintained after winning it. Maybe I'm kind of behind the 8th ball, so bring some closure, bring some enlightenment to me. Maybe I'm kind of naive to it. Maybe you guys know better than me, so leave your comments down below, like and subscribe to the channel. I'll show you guys tomorrow. Peace.